Good morning, Year 6, and today is Tuesday, the 2nd of March, and we are going to be thinking about calculating angles around a point. By this point in today's learning, you will have already completed your arithmetic questions and marked them, so you should be ready to go on to the main bit of the learning that we're going to do today. Now, yesterday we talked about angles around on a straight line and how many degrees measurement that made, but today we're going to be talking about angles around a point. So we need to know some understanding about the properties of angles around a point. We need to be able to show our understanding of how to calculate missing angles on intersecting lines and use a bar model to show our understanding to represent the calculation. So when you're ready, we'll get started. Okay, so we had a similar kind of question yesterday, but this time, obviously, our angle is all around this central point here. And I wonder if you can see if you can remember back to your time in junior school so far, and how many degrees does this whole turn, this full rotation turn, look like? And you might be able to remember how many degrees it has in it. Okay, so if you have remembered back, you will remember that a full turn, a full rotation, and how we describe this angle being a full rotation is 360 degrees. Now we can prove this because if we actually do divide up our circle into quarters, we can go back to that knowledge of our right angles, and we know that in our circle, it is made up of 4 right angles, and we know, and should know by now, and you would have started to learn about in year 3, that that is 90 degrees. So each of the 90 degrees, 4 of them, added together will give us our 360 degree measurement, and it will give us our full rotation. So today, our 360 degrees is a really important number to hold on to when we're calculating missing angles around a point. So have that as your key bit of knowledge, write that bit of knowledge down because it will help you in all your questions that you have today. So moving on, we have 2 questions here that we're going to look at. We'll look at the first one at the top here, and then we'll go on to the second one so we can look at them one at a time, really, so you can see what you need to do. Just get that ready there. So you can see this is our first question, and it's talking about some missing angles and some given angles around a point. And here's our point in the middle of our circle here. These are all of our angles we can see. Now, already you should be remembering from our previous bit of introduction that around a point we're talking about a total number of 360 degrees. So that's our whole amount when we're talking around a point in degrees. And you will notice on this diagram you can see that we already have some of our angles given to us. In fact, we've actually got 2 obtuse angles here because they are above 90 degrees and below 180 degrees, which we touched upon in yesterday's learning. So you can see we already know 2 of the angles. We've got 95 degrees that we already know. Apologise for my mouse writing here. And 105 degrees are already known to us. And we have a missing angle that has been labelled, in this case, A. And sometimes they're labelled with different letters. So this one's just been labelled with the letter A. So our first job is to work out and find out what this missing angle is so that we can decide whether, if we added all these angles together, we will find our whole 360 degrees. So in order to do that, you might already be thinking, or I think I know the kind of thing I'll be looking for when I am calculating here. But it might be a good idea at this point to cut down some of our calculating by looking at what do we already know How many degrees of those 360 do we already know about? Well, we already know that we've got 95 degrees and 105 degrees. So we've already got knowledge that there are 200 degrees around this point. That is known. So these two combined is 200 degrees. And we're waiting to, we're trying to work out what this extra angle is. So hopefully you will have been remembering from yesterday how we can calculate that missing angle. So for this, we will need to do our 360 degrees, and we're going to be taking away our known amount and seeing what we are left with. And you should be able to see that we are left with 160 degrees. And obviously you can write that on a column. Actually, this is quite a nice one for place value because you're only literally taking away 200 from your 300 in your hundreds column. So this gives me some information that I can add into my bar model and add back into my diagram before I can check that that indeed tells me that I've got all of the angles around this point. So if I was going to put it back in my bar model, I'll put it in a different color. So I've got my 160 degrees here, which is where that mystery angle was. I've got my 160 degrees back in my diagram here. And then I can do a bit of checking with my diagram, so I can check then that if I added together 95 degrees plus 105 degrees plus 60 degrees, 160 degrees, apologise, I will get back to my 360 degrees, and hopefully you can see that happening there on the screen, so you'll be able to see that that's worked with that amount. I'll make that a little bit smaller so you can go across two lines, but you can just see that calculation that we've just performed. So here we have a way in which we've got two mystery angles and we're finding out our third, and then we're checking that it all adds up to that angles around a point which equals 360 degrees. And this time we have got, rather than two angles given, we have actually got three angles given, but we are still looking for one mystery angle here. So I won't slow us up because we already know the fact that the whole amount of degrees around a point is 360. We already know some of the mystery angles. We actually know three of them. We've got our 95 degrees here, our obtuse angle, just obtuse because it's just above 90 degrees, our right angle. We've got our 115 degrees angle, which is another obtuse angle, and we've got our 50-degree angle here that are known to us. So I wonder if you can remember back to what an angle is called that is below 90 degrees, below a right angle. It's got a particular name. In fact, you might just be able to spot some clues with the way that you can see it's kind of formed there. It's a little bit smaller than the 90. Kind of forms a letter there. It's, yes, you're right, an acute angle, acute, to help you remember that one. And we have got that mystery angle here, E, that we are looking for. So once again, we're going to be doing our quick calculating. Obviously, you can take more time on these calculations, but this is what we are ultimately calculating and putting together. So we want to find out, firstly, what 95 degrees plus 115 degrees plus 50 degrees will be. So we've got our 260 degrees. So we already know, that's what that total is, already know. And you will surely be able to spot here between our 360 degrees and our 260 degrees, we've got another angle here. And hopefully, without us even having to calculate, but I will do so you can just see, you can see that if we did take away 260 from 360, so here's our calculation here, we will find that we have 100 degrees. So putting that back in our diagram, we can go back and we can put in that this will be 100 degrees here, and E on our diagram is 100 here. And then obviously we would want to go through and check that we have made all of these angles add up to our whole 360 degrees. So we've got our, or we can go through it in any order, but we can go for our highest number first to help us a bit. Then we're going to add on our, let's go 100. And you already probably can see from place value what that next number would be totaling so far. And then we're going to add on, oh, well, I would maybe go on to our 50, make it a bit easier, and then we're adding on our 95. And in total, that will get us back to our whole 360 degrees. So I know that I've checked that all of these angles are here, including our mystery angle that we've now found out will get us back to 360 degrees. So as yesterday, your job will be to now go to your sheet for today, and as yesterday, you have got to find out some angles around a point. I'll give you some little hints as you go through. Obviously, remember that 360 degree rule that's around the point, but also just looking at this one here, you might not be able to see, it's quite small, but there are a couple that have got this symbol marked. And it looks like there are actually two mystery angles because it's not got a number by it. But you should be able to remember that this symbol here in the corner of two intersecting lines, as you can see, marks as having a right angle, which is a 90-degree angle. So we've got our right angle here. And in some of the diagrams, if you've got that symbol there, you will already know the number of that angle, the number of degrees that it measures. So although it's not there, that symbol will tell you it's a right angle and it's 90 degrees, which will hopefully help you not get too stuck on the problems today. As always, problems go through and answers are along the bottom. Also remember that you have an angles help sheet from yesterday, which reminds you about the fact that angles around a point, full rotation is exactly 360 degrees, which will be your key fact and key bits of knowledge for you to be successful today. So as soon as you've done your work, please send it through to your class teacher, and we'll look forward to hearing from you. Goodbye for now.